It's time for everybody to learn how to be an alchemist. Alchemy is one of those things I think that, I know that I hadn't heard about it for a long time, that isn't well understood, and it's even less talked about or less taught. It's something that actually everybody knows about, but isn't, and everybody actually practices alchemy all the time, but without the direction of, the direction of what it is in definition, and how to use it and apply it in your life, then what we do is we unconsciously use it in programmed ways that are designed to keep people practicing alchemy for the benefit of something other than themselves. And that really is how the world seems to be mechanized today. Now, okay, let's break it down to a little bit simpler. Today, every day, you think, and you think about what you need to do, and you take the steps to do it, and then you get it done. It's as simple as that. Alchemy is thinking about something. Alchemy is about thinking about something, creating a space for the wanting or the will of it to manifest, to be done, and then taking the actual steps or actions to do it, and then it's done, right? Eventually. If it isn't, it leads to something else. So we do this all the time. It's actually kind of just like the simplest way to explain life, like how life occurs. And it applies really to humans because there's this, at least I'm going to say it applies to humans because I'm a human talking about it to humans, for humans, animals and plants and all that. I'm not disregarding y'all folks. I love you guys so much, and I talk to them, and I advise you guys to talk to them too because they're all part of it. But I'm applying this particularly to humans. We do it, and it's specific to us in this way that I'm describing it in our language, because it's just natural. It's the thing that we do. In fact, I don't know what's before language, but language has been symbolically and represented vibrationally through sound and stuff to help us do this in a more effective way. I think that it's more effective because language, sound, and vibration and symbology and all that, which is kind of what I want to really make this particularly be about is the tools that you use to strengthen your alchemical process. That is what really makes it think about a speakerphone. You want to talk to a lot of people, you ought to use like a speakerphone or something that propels your sound. And so language itself, in any form or way, it could be sign language, anything, any kind of way of talking, I feel has only greatens the depth of our ability to more fully and more fine-tunedly define what it is that we want to manifest. In fact, let's say you want to manifest. One thing that you're going to learn maybe from all the information out there is that the more defined, the more fine-tuned what you want becomes to you, the more fine-tuned, and fine-tuned, I mean, not more, fine-tuned means finding all the words and then breaking those words down. Fine-tuning them. And like if you're one thing, I'm a writer, right? And one thing I know from writing is that the less the better, but also the more the better in a less wordy way. So you want to say something powerful and big and whatever, and you write it all out, and it's a big old sentence of all the ideas, and then you start taking away and erasing until it becomes something quite perfect. You would do this to a big old painting or something that you want to you sketch it out first, and then you just finally draw it out, Hemingway, I just keep thinking Hemingway. You say something, and I'm not making a really good, perfect example of myself right now, but you say something and you want to say the essence of it. You first got to hash out what it is, all the things that you want, and then you pick all the most important parts and you put it down, and then you got this really beautiful sentence that's way more effective as, I am man, then I am this man I am a human that has has like a dick and pecs and I have short hair sometimes in some cultures, and I also like women, but I can't have children. All right, that's enough. But you know what I mean? Like, I am man is better than I am a short-haired, long-footed, tall glass of water. Although that was pretty good. Alchemy. So, I really feel like it's really important for us to teach our children, and I'm not talking like not everybody has kids, and I hear from a lot of my friends and shit, like, I think it's dumb to have kids, and like people, that's the problem. All right, well, I respect all opinions, and you're right, there's overpopulation and shit, but there's still fucking kids on this world, and even if you don't have kids, like, to be able to mentor any kid, and that includes adults who act like kids, which is a lot of people these days. I recognize that, and I don't mean disrespect, I just mean that a lot of adults need to be, taught in a way. So even if you don't have kids, like, to become a teacher and to inform people and children, especially, of these like special, very, very simple, it's ridiculously simple, processes that are inherent, innate, like completely, almost unconscious. Well, yeah, they is unconscious because like they just are part of us. Ways of being, which really roots down into cause and effect. It's like the cause has to start from a thought, and the effect is what you do about it. That's really important right now because, it's really hard to get people to get together and think similarly. But just like a sentence in an Ernest Hemingway novel, the less words, the better. And so we can't all agree on all the same things. All right, point taken. So let's break it down to the very basic things that we don't even need to agree on because they just are, which is the alchemical process. And the power of the alchemical process is what is not widely taught, not widely distributed because it is so powerful and it is so simple and it's so easy to understand. And therefore it's brushed over and sabotaged, manipulated so that just like in the Matrix, so that our alchemical process becomes the battery for lower purposes on a higher seat. Just gonna move this back down. And so it's up to us to regenerate a brand new, it's really up to us to regenerate a brand new way of thinking. But it ain't new. But let's just pretend it is, okay? So the brand new way of thinking is start to teach your children, which, like Jesus, that's what it was, teach the children. It says the same thing. It's like everybody's a child in a way. We all got the inner child. you know, I'm still that fucking baby that came out of my mom's vagina, but here I am in lots of layers of, you know, all the skin fell off. It's just lots of fucking ethereal layers of what appears to be the same skin and bones and shit. And yet I'm still that thing. We're all still children. We all need to be telling each other or telling and raising our children to understand this principle in order to be free, be happier, be more daily filled with love, be less inclined to needing things in order to achieve that, be less inclined to wanting in order to feel okay, be less inclined to fill our lives and our pockets with things that help us feel a little bit of relief from the like the cloud of neurosis that hangs over all of us, you know? All right, that's enough of that preach. What do we need to do? What we need to do is to just flat out just make it so simple. The reason why I really emphasize children is because, like I said, if we could just go back to how simple it was, we could teach ourselves this way. It's easy. You start at one place. You can't fucking jump into something and just be like, well, I already know, and make it complicated, because nobody, I mean, like, it's just confusing. It's bogged. It's fogged down. It's bogged with a lot of sentences when it could just be I am man. And so what it is you need to practice control of the mind. Forget ADD, all that fucking bullshit about any kind of limitation. There's no limitation. There's no handicaps. There's nothing that is holding anybody of any kind. I'm talking humans here, okay? We're talking humans. There's nothing to limit any kind of human being, regardless of whatever label of handicapped or limitation that you want to put on it, from doing this simple fucking thing, which is thinking. And listen, if you got like a sister and she's been in a coma for a while, don't think she's limited too. Realize that if you're even thinking about her this way, you ought to be teaching her, which means you ought to just be going over there and talking to her. If you got somebody of any kind, write them a letter. Telepathic mail happens. It's way better than email, and just take some practice. So all you got to do is think about the thought and, you know, positivity, because on the opposite, dark magic, it works too. If you weren't knowing, you know, all you got to do is if there's somebody you want to think about to help teach them, think about teaching them in your head. Hermeticism. Hermes Trismegistus. Hold on, I knew I was going to blur that. Hermes Trismegistus, or Trismegistus, or however you want to say it, who is an incarnate or all-in-one of Thoth, who was an Egyptian god, entity, energy source, Hermes, Thoth, all that. The Emerald Tablets, Hermeticism, is, you know, a huge purveyor of alchemy, huge information source on alchemy. The Emerald Tablets is a very good source, and if you don't want to read it, just go online. They got people describing what it, you know, deconstructing it for you, making it simple. Hermes and Hermeticism speak that all is mind, the universe is mental. Now, you don't have to agree with that, but just think that everything that happens in your life, now that's a little complicated. Think right now. Anything that you're thinking, everything that is, that you see, whatever you're thinking about. So, all is mind. The universe is mental. It all starts with thought. It really all starts with thought. A woman doesn't get pregnant unless she thinks about it. And Now, this can get a little bit tricky, and I've actually practiced this in my head. This is my head before. A woman doesn't get pregnant unless she thinks about it. Now, there are some loopholes. There's something extraneous to everything. Somebody who might have been unjustly gotten pregnant and goes on to have that child. Now, you can't accuse her of thinking of getting pregnant and say, hey, that was your alchemical fucking process. No. However, let's just take a really ideal circumstance, but every circumstance is ideal. I don't care what you fucking all think, you know, every single bad thing that happened is just as worthy as everything good. Say this person got pregnant and she never thought about it, and it was, you know, a bad experience, but she goes on and raise that kid by herself and don't know the daddy because he's in jail or whatever, you know, rape. And that kid goes on and is raised by a tough old mama, and he goes on and he invents the wheel, you know. So where did that come from? Now, there's so many powers and things different at and under and between and before the bays that it could have been the alchemical process of that little tiny entity spirit up there saying, I know what I need to do. I'm going to, you know, and this is the only way that it's going to be done this way. And so there's a process going on somewhere, and you can't always, you know, be so dogmatic about everything, that this is how it is and take my word for it just like this. You got to start by thinking. Make it simple. You want to teach your kid how to practice alchemy? I take my kid, and we do this all the time, and I ain't like alchemy this, alchemy that. I don't really say, I say it there, but mostly I just say it's called belief. And what can we do out of what we believe, you know? And a lot of times we've done simple things like go on treasure hunts looking for treasure. And the beauty of that is that I tell her that it's treasure. Now that's a word. She can make up her mind about whatever treasure means to her. Sometimes we've even been as specific as to call in a bald eagle, and that has happened. And that's happened to me. I mean, you know, I practice this, so I've seen it. The more you practice, the more you see it, and you can scientifically describe it to death. Like, you know, you're just finally looking at this and that. Yeah, I am. But isn't it coincidental? No, it ain't. It's just fucking magic. You start small and say, well, today, you know, if you want to see something grandiose, all right, go on and say, I want $1,000. I've done that twice and I got it twice. But you can say, today, I'd like somebody to come up and give me a hug out of the blue. Now, the trick to this is that your heart's got to be in the right place. You got to trick your fucking subconscious mind by truly believing it. I'm going to have to do another video about the tools that I said I was going to do in this video, but there is tricks. Now, it is simple, but with our programmed minds, it ain't as simple as ABC. It really is simple as ABC, but when ABC come around and you look at them, you're looking at ABC, or you hear, you're like ABC 1 2 3, and that's already like filtrating your mind with like Jackson 5, and you get all these, you know, random associations going on, you know, like Jackson Street and like blah 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 street, like meat. So all of a sudden you get off track. But as simple as it is, I'll do tools next video. Simple as it is think about what you want, okay? Contain the willpower, you know, contain it, which means once you've thought about it, think about the ways that you want to do it. It's like, how can I do this? The action has to come. You think about it, you daydream, you devise a plan, and then you take the course of action. So I want to have somebody come up and give me a hug. Next day, you change your energy. Instead of being angry and whatever, you're happy, you're smiling at people. I guarantee you smile at people, someone's going to give, and you know what? You might give somebody a hug. Somebody else random will come up and give you a hug. And that will be the moment that you realize, you know, you can go around and give 50 people hugs and then just be standing around at a water fountain. Somebody will come up and give you a hug. And that is there, you know, or it could be magical. Like you just walk out of your apartment building and some chick just falls in your lap on accident and trips or whatever. And she's just giving you, you know, like pulls your pants down. And she's like, oh, sorry, dude. Like, I'm really sorry. And you're like, it's all good. And then she just looks at your eyes. She gives you a big old fucking hug. And then you guys get married or something. Anyway, that's a little cray-cray, but I wanted to let you all know that I'm really interested in teaching the masses about how to alchemically change the paradigm and the consciousness that could, you know, use a little lifting right now. And that is what I'm going to do. And next video, we'll do tools. In the meantime, much love.